All right, let's learn how to do running man or EPK2. Yoga poses have a million different names for them, so don't worry too much about what it's called, but about how it's done. For this prerequisite, you should have a strong foundation of a chaturanga. Knees down is acceptable for this. You can start to figure it out, but know your foundations of high plank through a flow. This is a arm balance. This is a lot of core, and it's also just figuring out your hands. All of it comes from your hands. Let's start there. Have yourself warmed up. Pause this video if you need to. Do a few sun salutations. I have some on my YouTube, my Patreon that you can go and watch. But your hands are the most vital part of this. So to start, make sure that your hands feel nice and open. You want to use your hands like you're palming a basketball. If you're familiar with sports, or if you're familiar with hand bandha, how to grab and grip your mat, that's going to be so important. Because when you start to do any kind of crow, arm balance, your hands are your brakes. That's what stops you from falling on your head. So know how to, press your hands wide into the mat. And again, like you're palming a basketball. Like you could grip your mat, press it up. So the middle of your knuckles are going to take the tiniest lift up off of your mat. You might start that by just feeling yourself in tabletop, feeling the strength in your hands. And then just a little press up. Notice how you can even adjust the way that your forearms, the muscles in your forearms move by just pressing into fingertips versus pressing the weight all the way into your wrist. Now, for a lot of people in yoga, and their wrist hurts, right? It's like one of the most common things we experience. So that's usually when your hands are not doing much. You're weight bearing all the way down into your wrist. But if you can start to press the weight through each fingertip, it took me a very long time to understand what that actually meant. I always heard it in classes, like use all my hand. Like, what do you mean? My hand is being used. You have to strengthen your hand muscles. Long story short. So it's okay if it doesn't feel that way right now. Work your way up to it. Yoga is not a one-time, you can do it and then, oh my God, you can do it forever. Or it takes, several months to even do a posture. So again, make sure that you have a strong foundation of your high plank, your chaturanga, and feeling strong into your hands. So to begin, the best way I like to start this is from a low lunge. I'm going to show you right side to begin with. So my right foot comes forward. My hands are strong like a plank. Now, since my legs and arms are very long, this works for me. It may not work for you the same way if you have a longer torso and shorter legs, but I'll give you another way to get into this. So with your hands strong, again, open like you're going to palm a basketball, you're going to wiggle your right foot over to the right side so you are on the ground. You want to think chaturanga with this. So you're going to press your right thigh into the back of your right tricep. What's going to happen here is this is going to become a shelf of your arm to hold your thigh in place, okay? So if you can explore that little shelf that begins to happen. Your left elbow option, for me what happens is when I do my chaturanga arms, I kind of end up doing this kind of side chaturanga. So my left elbow is actually going to hold my hip where my right elbow holds my right thigh. Some people don't do that. Some people just let their left arm be free. If you feel really strong in your upper body, you may not need to hold your hip bone in place. You may just hold it off to the side. But if you start to feel like you're collapsing into your left shoulder with your right leg onto your right arm, you might need to hold your elbow into your hip socket. It'll make sense in a second. So here, low lunge. Again, right arm hugged in to my right thigh. Foot is strong. Now I'm going to start to walk. Now here is when I start to shift the weight. Left hip's going down to left elbow. That's going to hold me up. And again, I'm in chaturanga arms. As you start to explore back foot kicking up and down. Let me show the other side. Same thing happens. So if you're using left foot forward, your thigh is going to go to the back of your left tricep, and your right elbow is going to hug to your right hip. This side's so different for me. I rarely ever do this side. You'll find that one side's going to be a lot stronger for you as it is for me. So It's okay if your chin or your face touches the floor. Sometimes we have to get there. On my right side, I don't have to, but my left side I do. To work your way to feel into the breaks of your hands. That's what's happening. So give yourself a second as you come in, come out. If that just did not work for you and you're like, what? My thigh is not getting on my arm that way. You can start it from high plank or from downward facing. Okay, I'm gonna show you right side. So right leg lifts up to the sky. You're gonna keep this long kick up as you roll it forward, starting like a high plank, but I'm gonna go ahead and hug my left elbow down to prepare to plant. Okay, so I'm here. It works the same way. For me, I feel it to be easier starting from the ground up, pushing my way away from the ground. You might find it easier with your body already in space when you're lifted. Running man is a hard posture. Just take your time. Your right leg or left leg, whatever leg is up in the air, you could kick it out beside you, you could kick it into you. Doesn't really matter what's happening there. So you can kick your right foot out, left foot's gonna lift up. The further it lifts up, the more that your head comes to the earth, the more that it lowers, the more that you can lift your upper body. So, practice. Practice helps everything. Give it a try. Let me know how it feels for you.